Imagine walking through a dense rainforest. The trees are towering so high they almost touch the sky, rays of sunlight squeeze through the leaves, and suddenly a piercing, harsh scream echoes across the jungle. That scream doesn't belong to a human, it belongs to a parrot, one of the loudest, brightest, and most fascinating parrots in the world, the Great Green Macaw. This bird is more than just a splash of color in the forest. It is a species fighting for survival, and its story is both beautiful and heartbreaking at the same time. The Great Green Macaw lives in the rainforests of Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, and Ecuador. Unlike some birds that migrate with the seasons, this parrot stays in its tropical home year-round. Wherever it establishes its territory, that's where it spends its life. They are naturally social birds, usually spotted in pairs or in small groups of up to 8. After the breeding season in Costa Rica, these macaws gather in large flocks and move toward the coasts, searching for food. And when they take flight, you don't just see them, you hear them. Their calls are so loud and sharp they can be heard from kilometers away, filling the skies with their harsh cries. This isn't just noise, it's how they communicate, how they stay connected, and how they let the jungle know they're there. When it comes to food, the Great Green Macaw is a specialist. Their diet is mostly made up of large, tough fruits that most animals can't access. But with their massive, powerful beaks, they can crack open even the hardest shells. What's fascinating is their habit of dropping more than half of what they collect. They'll pluck a fruit from the tree, break it open, and then toss it aside if they don't like it. While it may seem wasteful, this little quirk actually helps the forest regenerate. Those discarded fruits and seeds land on the forest floor, sprout, and eventually grow into new trees. Without realizing it, macaws are gardeners of the rainforest, playing a vital role in keeping their habitat alive. During the breeding season, these macaws start a very careful search for the perfect home. The pairs inspect large cavities in giant old trees, testing whether they're suitable for laying eggs. Both partners check every detail, whether there's enough space inside, whether the tree is strong and safe, and whether another bird has already claimed it. Finding the right nest site is critical for their future chicks, and every year they repeat this ancient ritual, looking for that one perfect cavity that could protect their young. But here comes the difficult question. If the Great Green Macaw belongs in the wild, why are so many of them living inside sanctuaries instead of flying free in the forests? Why can't conservationists just release them back into their natural homes? The answer is not simple. It's complicated, layered, and rooted in 3 major reasons that explain why sanctuaries are absolutely necessary for their survival. The first reason is illegal trade. For centuries, humans have been drawn to exotic, brightly colored birds. And unfortunately, that attraction often turns into greed. In the rainforests, chicks are stolen directly from their nests and sold as pets, ending up in living rooms far away from the jungle. The majority of macaws you see in sanctuaries today were rescued from such illegal trafficking, seized by the authorities. But here's the problem. When a macaw grows up around humans, its entire behavior changes. These are known as hand-raised macaws. Unlike their wild cousins, they don't fear humans. They seek interaction. They treat people like friends, and while that may sound charming, it's a death sentence in the wild. If you release such a bird into the rainforest, it won't know which fruits are safe to eat, it won't know how to avoid predators, and worst of all, it will fly back toward humans, straight into the hands of poachers and traders. For these birds, the jungle is no longer a home, it's a trap. The second reason is injuries and disease. Many of the macaws that end up in sanctuaries are survivors of human-related accidents. Some are hit by cars, others are electrocuted by power lines, and some are victims of illegal hunting. There are birds with only one wing, making flight impossible. For a species built to soar through the skies, losing the ability to fly means losing the ability to survive. And then there's the risk of disease. Many of the rescued birds once lived in cramped rooms alongside domestic animals, which exposes them to infections that wild populations have never encountered. If these infected birds were suddenly released back into the forest, they could spread dangerous diseases to healthy wild macaws, creating a whole new crisis. Sanctuaries provide a controlled environment where these risks are managed, ensuring that the injuries and illnesses don't wipe out the already fragile population. The third and perhaps biggest reason is habitat loss. This is the greatest threat facing the Great Green Macaw today. Rainforests are being cut down at alarming rates, whether for cattle ranching, logging, or expanding cities and farms. And without forests, there is no home for the macaws. In the last 20 years alone, their population has plummeted by 80 to 90%. Just think about that, almost an entire species wiped out in only 2 decades. Today, it's estimated that fewer than 2,000 great green macaws remain in the world, and some experts believe the number might be only a few hundred. A bird that once filled the skies with its cries is now teetering on the edge of extinction. This is where sanctuaries come in as a lifeline. In Costa Rica, one sanctuary has become a symbol of hope. And it's not some small bird cage, it's a vast circular aviary designed to give macaws the freedom to fly endlessly, almost like they would in the wild. Inside, they can spread their wings, scream into the sky, and live in a safe environment that still feels open and natural. These sanctuaries do more than just provide shelter. They serve multiple roles, rescuing birds from illegal trade, offering permanent homes to those who are too injured or disabled to survive in the forest, and running breeding programs to preserve genetic diversity and secure the species' future. Without these efforts, the Great Green Macaw might already be gone. But the sanctuaries also take things one step further. For certain macaws, the goal is to prepare them for release. Not every bird can return to the wild, but some, after careful testing, can be given that chance. Before release, every macaw goes through medical and genetic checks, and then comes the training. They must relearn wild skills, how to recognize edible fruits, how to stay away from predators, and most importantly, how to avoid humans. This is harder than it sounds. Some macaws have spent years around people, even learning to mimic human speech. While it's entertaining for us, it's deadly for them. A macaw that talks like a human will naturally approach people in the forest, and that makes it an easy target for capture. So sanctuaries must work hard to erase these human-oriented behaviors and bring back the wild instincts. It's not easy, and sometimes it feels almost impossible. But when it works, those birds stand a real chance at surviving in the rainforest once again. The story of the Great Green Macaw is more than just a tale about a single species. It's a reflection of our relationship with nature. On one hand, human greed and carelessness have driven them to the brink of extinction. On the other hand, it's human compassion and dedication that are now trying to save them. Every bird in those sanctuaries carries a story. Some were stolen as chicks, some were injured by our infrastructure, some were nearly lost forever. And yet, thanks to conservationists, they are alive today, screaming loudly in giant aviaries that echo with both pain and hope. When you look at a great green macaw, you're not just looking at a parrot, you're looking at a living reminder of what's at stake if we don't protect our planet. Their cries are more than just calls in the forest, they're wake-up calls for us. They remind us that if we continue to destroy habitats, if we continue to capture and trade wildlife, we'll be left with a silent forest, a world where beauty has been traded for emptiness. So the next time you see a picture of a macaw or hear it scream in a video, remember this: these birds depend on us now. Their survival is in human hands. If we protect them, if we protect their forests, if we support the sanctuaries that care for them, then maybe, just maybe, the Great Green Macaw will still be there for future generations to see in the wild, not just in documentaries or photographs. Because a jungle without the sound of macaws is not really a jungle at all. It's just silence.